Good afternoon. It is just right after work, so it's about 4:30 here. Welcome back to another video. I'm going to show you guys just what I'm just what I'm working on right now. Nothing too crazy. As you can see, I've got shop space back, and I did a little bit of organizing. Got this cabinet actually from work. They were going to throw it away. They had too many, so I decided to take it and put all my sandpaper and everything there. So I just want to just pretty much cleaned up the shop a little bit. The truck is actually parked outside, letting the sun. It's been out a little bit today, so I'm letting the sun kind of just kiss it a little bit and get it harder. I'll eventually be posting another video of that once I get to that point. But right now, since I'm letting it dry for probably at least another 5 to 7 days, I'll let it kind of cure a little bit more. That's why I park it outside so the sun can get to it, because over time, like, true sunlight will harden up clear really well. So since I've already wet sanded and buffed pretty much the entire truck, there's going to be certain areas that gonna need hit again. So once that's done shrinking up and doing its thing, I'll do that next week. Just part of it. A lot of guys, especially the ones that do a lot of graphics, usually let their stuff sit or bake, whatever, for months before they even wet sand and buff it, because they know that that clear needs to cure, and once it cures, it shrinks up and it does all what it needs to do. So the longer you let it sit, the better, pretty much. But what I'm working on now in my meantime, I got this cool golf cart here. It's one of my buddies, one of my best friends, golf cart. He bought this cart and it was wrapped like a Nardo gray color, I guess you would call it. And he really wanted to tear the wrap off of it. It was failing in some spots. So he ripped the wrap off of it and just the body was just tore up. So he wanted it painted really bad, so we're gonna paint it. And right now I'm just going through the front face. I've already went ahead and kind of sanded everything down. Right, this piece is ready for primer. And right now I'm doing a little bit of plastic repair, let's call it that. This side, for some reason, they had drilled holes in this, like just little tiny holes, maybe like a 1/4 inch. So I had plugged this one, and this one over here, for some reason, somebody had plugged this one halfway already. So I finished that one up. Just to walk you through something like this, you really need to prep the surface really well, and you really need to get a piece of plastic to fill that hole and then use some kind of bond to repair that. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what I did. It's pretty funny, but you know, you got to do what you got to do and use what you have on you. He had bought, I'm going to show you guys what he had bought. I usually use a 3M 2-part semi-rigid plastic repair, which works great on stuff like this. But he couldn't find any local, so I am this JB Weld. You know, it's a plastic bonder. So I'm sure it'll work fine. It's worked fine so far. It's just taken a while to actually dry. That's probably the longest part of this, is making it sure it's nice and hard. It's kind of cold in here, so it's not really drying really quick, which is great because you got more time to work with it. And then what I did was I took my side angle grinder with a 36-inch wheel and just roughed it up front and back. I did the back pretty gnarly, and then with the hole, once you get it kind of roughed up, you want to clean it off really well. And then what I did to fill the hole was I stuck this spreader, this old spreader I had, stuck it on the back of it, drew a circle, and then I just pretty much cut the circle out to be a little bit larger than the hole. That way it fit in there really, really snug. So, and then when I did that, I went ahead and I just mixed up the 2-part that he bought, and I just kind of filled it in like that. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I'm just waiting on this stuff to dry. I filled little areas that needed filled here and there, little deep scratches. Now, a lot of this stuff, once I get it dry all the way, I'll take my 36-inch or 36 grit wheel and I'll hit this and kind of just shape it and mold it the way I need to. And then I'll put some glaze over top of it just to kind of fill any imperfections in that needs to be filled. And I'll go around the cart and I'll kind of hit the areas that need filled a little bit. And then we'll get this. Other than that, the whole thing's ready for primer. I just need to finish these areas. Everything else has been sanded. I sanded it with 180 first, and then I took some 400 grit over it and just buzzed it down really nice. That way primer will stick to it no problem. And we'll probably put like 3 coats of primer on it. Let it sit for a day or whatever, and then come back in and sand it back down, and it should be ready for paint. This cart has wheel flares here, just little flares. We're going to actually be painting these too. And he gave me a wheel for reference. He wants to try to match this blue. It's an anodized look that this company, whoever makes this wheel, did. So what it is pretty much bare metal that's been polished with like a anodized blue over top of it, which just technically that just means a candy, just powder coat for him. So I've got a color, a candy that's going to work pretty well. And I want to do something for, he's not really wanting to spend a bunch of money on this because his kids and stuff drive it, and he just doesn't want to spend a bunch of money. But I want to throw something special in this for him. He's done stuff for me without, you know, without me or him asking or whatever, and helping me out. So I want to give him back something really, really cool. He said he just wanted it straight black, and then maybe the accents tried to match that blue color. But I'm going to do something pretty cool, so stay tuned. We'll get this thing ready for paint and get some cool stuff done to it and see what he thinks about it. So yeah, I'm just going to wait until this dries, and then we'll be back. And another thing is this wall pretty much moved inside the area that I painted. It's going back on that wall, but I still need to use that fan. So in a couple days, the electrician's coming. We're gonna mock this thing up over there. We're gonna throw the fan up there. He's gonna wire a separate breaker box in with the switch, and he's gonna mount it to the side of the exhaust wall for me. That way all I gotta do is flip a switch. That'll fix my issue with when I kick this fan on, the heater kicking off. That'll fix that because it'll be on its own pretty much breaker at that point. So that'll be really awesome. And this is going to be probably one of the first things I paint to test this thing out. I'm really, really curious, but we're going to spend pretty much all day Friday getting this set up, and then the electrician's going to run its wire and whatever he needs to do to run it. So we're going to do that Friday. So hopefully Friday afternoon, after we're done, we can get this thing rolling and going. So pretty awesome stuff coming. The truck is just pretty much got the hood and the tailgate. Like I said, I'm just letting it just bake outside for a little bit. So I mean, everything else is pretty much done. Just for those of you that had watched the videos of me doing the body work on this thing, I actually got these bumpers painted, and they came out really nice. Not too shabby for how bad and how warped they were. So that will go together pretty quickly. It's just these two pieces. I ended up painting this piece as well. That way the colors and everything match. I painted them at the same time. So both of them came out really, really nice. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's, besides that, I don't know what that is, but that'll buff out probably. But yeah, I'm gonna let this stuff sit before I build any of it. And same way with the truck. It's got to sit for a while because you don't need to go cranking down bolts on fresh clear because you're just going to tear it. So it's just a waiting game with the truck right now. And other than that, yeah, it's pretty much all that's going on right now. So like I said, I'm gonna let this stuff cure, get hard, and then we'll be back at it to get it in primer. So I was able to get some primer on the cart. It looks really good. I put 5 coats around the areas that has bodywork. And see, it's pretty much smoothed out. Same way with this side. And then I did 3 on the rest of everything. So 2 initially on the bodywork and then 3 around the whole thing. So it's definitely got enough primer on it. It needs to flash. I just got done spraying it, so I'm gonna let it sit until tomorrow. So it'll be a full about 20 hours. So it'll be nice and dry tomorrow. We'll come back, we'll sand it down, and then get the rest of the stuff ready for paint. So it's another day. Got this thing all sanded down, ready for paint. I pretty much just red Scotch-Brighted everything and then went over it with a 400 on a DA real quick. Being plastic, it's not going to be perfectly straight. So just run it over with the DA, 400, 320 works too, but 400 is all I had, so I did 400. It came out really, really nice. All the holes we filled are completely gone. It actually feels really straight, honestly. I won't know until I start either put wax and grease over it to check it, and that's another little trick. If you're doing like something that's really high end, or any type of bodywork for that matter, always put a little bit of wax and grease over your primer or your bodywork itself. When you get done blocking it, it will pretty much just make it glossy, and you can look down the side of it to see how straight your bodywork is. I did that with this when I was cleaning it, so like I said, it came out really, really good for what it was, because this thing was just ruined. So I'm really happy with it. And then fairing here came out really, really nice as well. I don't think there's one chip left in this. It's all sanded smooth. Like I said, Scotch-Brite, then 320 or 400 on a DA, and then block out the areas you need to block out. But yeah, I'm gonna final clean this thing, and we're gonna get to spraying this. Now, he just wanted pretty much just straight black. If you know me, like, I can't just, I mean, yeah, if somebody wants that and they're paying a lot of money for it, I'll do it. But being one of my friends I grew up with, one of my best friends actually, I can't just give him a straight black cart. You know, his golf cart is kind of, it's got different aftermarket wheels on it. It's lifted a little bit. It's almost like one of those gas ones you can buy for like 10 grand that are really expensive right now. And you know, all the work that I've done to this thing, all the hours and all the body work and primering and sanding all I did, I can't just paint it black. So I know he's gonna be cool with anything that I do. I'm not gonna go too crazy on it, but I am gonna spice it up just a little bit. So if you've been watching this channel for a long time, solid colors aren't my thing as far as, you know, like blacks or whites or reds or whatever. I gotta spice it up just a little bit. So that's what we're gonna do for him. And we're gonna get to this cart here. Like, so I'm gonna final clean it, which just means I'm gonna blow it off and I'll wax and grease it again, make sure it's completely clean of any dirt and debris, any greases, fingerprints, anything like that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna seal it black, and then we're gonna paint it. So I'm gonna get those things ready, and I'll show you guys the process as we go along. So before we jump into the painting part, I just got some mail. Some things came a little bit sooner than what I thought. I want to show you guys this because I didn't really go over it when I was doing the body work on anything, really. I don't like doing body work. I don't really want to bring that type of work in here, but you do have to do some of it just to get to the painting part. So I don't mind the small stuff, but I usually don't take it in at all. But when I was doing the body work, I know I mentioned the fillers and stuff that I use, but I didn't really show you guys. So if you want part numbers and things like this, this will help you guys out. So the filler that I use is a 3M Platinum Plus. I just got a can of it, more of it, because I was out. The golf cart pretty much took all of it, as far as the truck as well. So it comes with a tuba hardener for it as well. So it's really, really good. It's a 01131 is the part number. Now the cool thing about this is, I mean, you can get this anywhere pretty much. Anybody local automotive store wise should have this if they deal in paint. It's not hard to get, but I actually ordered this from Amazon. Obviously it comes from somebody else, but it told me I was going to get it in almost like 2 weeks, and I got it in 3 days, which is really, really fast. And Amazon actually had it lower in price than anywhere else I've looked or I've ordered from. And I think this came from Auto Body Tool Mart is what Amazon, the description said it came from. So it's really, really cool being able to get that. So if you got like Amazon Prime, I suggest getting, looking it up and getting on there. It did say it was like discounted 20%, so I don't know why or how long it's going to last. So if you need some really good filler, this is the, you know, this is almost better than Rage. I think Rage is more expensive by like $20 or $30, but this, for the price, you can't beat it. Like I said, I think it was like $71 and some odd cents, and it's a whole gallon. So this will last me probably for a year or two, because I don't do a lot of body work, like I said. So I try to just keep it in stock, and I'll just throw it in my cabinet down here with the rest of the body stuff. And then the tape, I ordered a sleeve of 1.5 inch. The brand I use is USC. Now, I started using this only because a buddy of mine that worked at a store that had passed away, that got me the House of Color mixing bank, he kind of turned me on to this stuff. I did end up switching from the FBS line. Let me see if I've got a roll in here. I probably don't. But I usually, I ordered a bunch of that FBS 1.5 inch, which is like a brownish cardboard color. And, you know, I was talking to him about it, and he was asking me what type of tape I used, because he knew I did a lot of graphics and stuff. And he swore by this USC, this purple tape stuff. And I'm like, well, I mean, if you like it, you know, I'll try it. So I bought a sleeve or whatever of 1.5 and 3/4. I ended up really liking it. And I'll kind of tell you why I liked the FBS as well. Either one, you cannot go wrong. The FBS is a little bit better. It's a little bit more expensive than this, but this stuff is still cheap. Like, I got 6 rolls here, a whole sleeve, for less than 20 bucks. And like I said, I got it off Amazon, so you can't beat that for how fast you get it, the price. So look up your stuff on there if you're ever, you know, wondering where you could get it, possibly cheaper or faster or whatever. We just live in that world now. You can get stuff stupid fast compared to what you could beforehand. But like I said, the FBS was really good because it was so thin that if you were doing graphics or anything that you had to lay over and cut, you could see really, really well. If you were using like a green or an orange fine line that you had to tape and you had to cut over, you could see that fine line tape really, really well. So it made razor blade cutting really simple, really easy. And this stuff is actually quite similar. It's low tack, just like the FBS. That's another reason why I like it, because you can tape over pretty much fresh base coat or whatever and go to town on your artwork. You used to, back in the day, used to have to wait for hours before you taped over anything that wasn't clear coated and sanded, just because tape was so tacky and it left behind tack marks. You'd have to like cling it to your body or your shirt to get that tackiness out of it before you laid it on the panel. But nowadays they make stuff so things aren't as tacky. It's less tacky, it's see-through, so it's a little bit thinner. And this is the same thing, it's just purple. This is not as see-through, I would say, as the FBS, but they're both great. You can't go wrong with both. This stuff, like I said, for the price and how fast I can get it, you can get this local, any hardware, not really any hardware store, but any paint store should be able to carry this stuff because, like I said, in my area in Indianapolis, it's really, really popular. And like I said, my buddy turned it on, and they sell like you can get 3/4. I've got 3/4. I don't know if they do anything else as far as different size and width, but you can order a pack of 12, you can order a pack of 6, whatever you need. So yeah, for less than 20 bucks, you can't beat it because you got 6 rolls, so you do the math. That's pretty cheap. I know back when I first started doing paint work and just having to buy tape, 3M was about the only brand out there that was worth anything, that was worth actually buying, because everything else was just garbage. And it was so expensive. I remember fine line tape. If you ordered the smaller you get, the more expensive it got. So like I remember buying a 16th, just like the regular green fine line 3M. It used to be like over $20 for a roll. Now you got more back then than you do now, but on the roll itself. But everything's come down a little bit cheaper on price and stuff. So even though it's still expensive, because like that truck, for instance, I went through probably good 6 or 7 rolls of tape of this stuff. So I used the whole sleeve, if not more, on that truck, just doing the graphics and stuff like that. So you do go through a lot of it. But yeah, I just want to show you guys that, just in case you're wondering where to get some stuff, what's good, what's not good. But I would say if you don't have anything local that you can get stuff from, try Amazon. Obviously, Amazon's pretty much got everything nowadays. Some stuff you can price match, some stuff you can't. This I just got lucky and it just popped up on Amazon when I was actually going to buy some anyways. So I just ended up getting it from there because I got a Prime account and stuff. But FBS is another great tape line, and as well as cftapes.com. cftape.com is another great custom tape place where they sell more than just tape. FBS just pretty much sells tape. I know they got a little bit of different stuff on their website, but CF Tapes sells everything as well as a little bit more than just tape. So if you're looking and you're wondering, that's where I get my stuff. Now we're going to get back to cleaning this cart and getting it ready for paint. Alright, so what I did was make up regular jet black 2-to-1 reduced, and then I had some of this sun gold pearl is what it's called. So I put quite a bunch in a mixture of 10 ounces. It was roughly 9 ounces of reduced paint. Dump some in there, mix it around. The trick with doing any type of dry pearl or flake or anything like that, you got to keep it agitated in the cup because it will just settle to the bottom. So every once in a while when you're spraying, just go in there and shake it. Every pass you do, just shake it up a little bit. Make sure everything's flowing around there really, really well, because what will happen, you'll get spurts of just like globs spitting out at once if you don't, and then you're going to really have uneven pearl everywhere, and it's just not going to look good, especially out in the sun. You probably won't see it until you clear it, but unless you're using like some really big flake, obviously you're going to see it. But yeah, I did that because I'm going to do something a little bit more extra that I didn't tell him that I was going to do. So his wheels have got like a anodized blue look to the polish of them. So you really can't copy anodized because powder coating is different. Even though it's still a tri-stage powder coating form, it's not the same as paint. Powder is not the same as paint. You can try to match it as perfect as it possibly can, and I've kind of done that with just using some of my color decks here. I went through them and I found one that's pretty close. It's not like perfect, but it is really, really close, because he wants his flares to accent that color in the wheel. So that's why I'm not doing the flares right now, because they're actually getting a silver base coat and then doing a candy over top of the silver and then cleared. So the color that I have chosen, I'm going to show you guys, is this Oriental Blue. It's over Ryan Silvermax, which is the silver base coat I'll be putting down. It matches it really, really well. It's not, like I said, it's not perfect, but it does match really nicely. So I've got some of that candy mixed up in my cup already here. And I'm going to put probably 2 coats of that over the black I just did. Now, what you might be thinking, what will happen, is too powerful. That's why I'm only going to put 2 coats on. I might put 3. I'm going to just kind of judge it as each coat I go. I've got a light that I use to kind of look when I'm spraying to see how much or how strong it is. So that's another little tip. If you don't really have good lighting, get you like a sun gun or like a Lumilight or something like that attached to your gun to make sure, because with over a black base coat, it does take a while to build up. If you're doing like a true candy, like a darker color candy, you can do this. I'm going to do this on the Honda, I think. So I'm kind of like experimenting right now with it on his golf cart. But take the candy Oriental Blue, do a couple coats over black. With that pearl being in there, it's going to catch that candy color a lot quicker than the black does. So in theory, when this thing is done, cleared out in the sunlight, you're pretty much going to see the pearl being a blue color. So you're going to get a hint of that blue every time that sparkles, and then like the side tone of it being a black base coat, the side tone, when you look side to side out in the sun, you're going to see just a blue hue. It's not going to be too powerful because we're not going to put that much on there, but it's going to be black, from the look of it. But once you get closer and you get it out in that sun, it's going to have that blue bounce off to it, and that pearl is going to sparkle, and it's going to catch that blue quicker than the black base. So it's going to look really cool. This is how custom painting is. You just kind of create and go. I've done this a lot on different jobs. It works out really, really great. You just got to understand how many coats you need or don't need. That way, if you don't want it too powerful, you don't want to put too much on, don't put a lot of coats on. Or if you really want it to be powerful, like when I do the Honda, I'm thinking I'm going to use a different candy, of course, but I'm going to use a different pearl as well. But I'm going to put like 10 coats of candy over that dark base coat to give it like almost like a midnight color flop to it. But you're going to really see it because, like I said, I'm going to put a lot of coats on the Honda when I do it. So that's what I'm planning to do. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a couple coats on, and I will show you guys what exactly it looks like underneath the sun. I'm not going to clear it right now. I'm going to let it dry for a few hours, and I'm going to be adding something else to the cart. That's why I'm not going to clear it right now. I'm going to clear everything together when I get the flares done and all that stuff, but we're going to do a little bit of artsy stuff to the cart. So he doesn't know about that either, but I figured we'd add some flair to it. I can't give him just a regular golf cart, like I said, so we're going to get this on, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. So I got done basing the bodies of the golf cart. As you saw, I got the black with a little bit of pearl in it, and then I put 3 coats of Oriental Blue candy, which is a little bit here. So it looks blue, but it's actually, if you put it against silver, it's like baby type aqua blue color. In person, you can tell it turned the black to kind of like a really light midnight blue type of color. It's still going to look black, but all that pearl and the flake that's in that I put in the black, when you put a light on it, you can really tell that it turned those sparkles from gold to that blue. So I don't know if you guys can tell, probably not on camera, but you can in person when you get a light on it. But it does have like a shade of blue to it. You can probably tell right there from that flop. But especially when it's out in the sun. I took it out in the sun, I looked at it. It's pretty nice today, so you can really tell that little bit of blue sparkle to it. Like I said, I only put 3 coats. I didn't make it really strong. I went on the lighter side of it because I didn't want to turn it to like a midnight blue really quick. I still want it to be pretty much very much black until you really get up on it. So I did that, and today's obviously a new day. So I'm home from work today, and I had an electrician come out and help me set up this I've been waiting on. Got this installed, got it all hooked up. What I'm doing now is actually going through and kind of building. Electrician actually helped me do some of this, so I just got to go through and finish it and seal it off completely up there. But it's fully functional. It is not as bad as far as sound. As far as sound goes, really not too loud compared to what I had. I think it's loud still, obviously, but it's not as loud as what it was with those other 2 fans. But it looks nice. It's gonna look finished, and once I actually seal that off up there, it'll actually pull more air just being from a sealed unit rather than a fully open fan. So I got to finish that off. I got some plywood. I'm gonna actually make some corners out of it and kind of go through there and kind of just seal up those open spots and just get that kind of finished off. I've got some metal that I'm going to wrap it around, just kind of make it look more finished, and then I'll probably spray foam it before I do any of that, just to make sure it's fully sealed off from anything, because I don't want any of the heat to escape out of there, especially during wintertime. I want it to be completely sealed. So that's what I'm doing today. I was hoping to get on this and do the next step on this, but I think the rest of them are probably going to get me that. And I've also been working on a little bit. It's acting up again, so I've been doing that. But yeah, so I'm going to pretty much end the video here until I pick up on the golf cart again. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.